Annie Bridget McCarrick was born on the 21st of March 1966 to her father John, a New York State police officer, and to her mother Nancy. They raised Annie on Long Island, New York, in the United States. She was an only child, popular at school, and played on the basketball team, as she was quite tall at 5'8". She was known as outgoing but gentle in her manner. They had a lot of family roots here in Ireland, as do many Americans, and growing up Annie would hear many a story. Annie always wanted to go to Ireland, so when the opportunity came to study here, she jumped at the chance. I'm unsure of the exact details between 1987, when she arrived here, and 1993, when she disappeared, as all the timelines I researched were contradictory and didn't state how long she stayed here exactly, how often she went home, and for how long. So I could be wrong, but I put it together as best I could to my understanding. She moved here in 1987 at just 19 to study at St. Pat's College in Drumcondra in Dublin to train as a teacher. She got a part-time job in a local cafe and stayed for 3 years. She had switched from St. Pat's to Maynooth to study Irish literature. In the late spring of 1992, she returned to Ireland and worked again in a cafe and moved into a small flat with 2 other friends in Sandymount, which is an upscale part of Dublin near the sea. Annie settled back in very well. She had loads of friends and immersed herself again in the people, the culture and the country. Her dad John didn't want her to return to Ireland. He wanted her home with him. He couldn't face another airport goodbye, so he said goodbye at home. Her mother Nancy went to the airport with her. I'm unsure if this is the last time her parents saw her, as they would go over to Ireland quite often. Only a few months later, Annie would disappear, never to be seen again. On the 26th of March 1993, Annie had the day off work. It was a Friday and her 2 flatmates had gone home for the weekend, so she had the place to herself. She had invited her friends around for the Saturday to have a belated birthday dinner for her, and she was doing the cooking. She was looking forward to her mother visiting when she flew in the following Friday. In the morning, she went to the bank to transfer her account from one branch to another. This would be the last known CCTV footage of Annie. She also went to the phone box, rang her friend Anne to see if she'd be interested in going for a walk in Glencullen in the Dublin Mountains. Anne couldn't go as she had hurt her foot. It's uncertain if Annie rang anyone else. She then headed to the supermarket to get food for the dinner party, and she was to pick up her paycheck but never did. Annie returned to her flat. She left 2 bags of shopping there without unpacking them, including the perishable goods, which were never put in the fridge. This is the first mystery. Why did she leave the food she just bought out to spoil? Annie went to the bus stop at 3 p.m. and took 2 buses, the number 18, which would bring her to Ranelagh, and then the number 44, which would bring her to Enniskerry, County Wicklow. She was seen by a woman that previously worked with Annie on that bus, but they never spoke. This is the last known confirmed sighting by someone that actually knew Annie personally. Everything else I'm about to include is not confirmed, and it's the information that was gathered through the investigation by the Gardaí and private investigator that the McCarricks hired. Annie would arrive in Enniskerry around 5 p.m. It should be noted, at this time of year the days would still be short, and so it wouldn't be long before darkness set in, around 6:15 p.m. So this would be very late to be going walking on your own in the Dublin Mountains. Annie was seen in Enniskerry post office buying stamps. The only thing is they were stamps for local post and not international. Annie would be more inclined to buy international stamps to send letters to people at home in America. The next lead was a sighting in Johnny Fox's pub in Glencullen in the Dublin Mountains, which is the highest pub in Ireland. There is no bus to Glencullen, so Annie would have had to walk the 6 kilometres. It was a dark, wet, wintry evening, and though Annie was familiar with the area and been to the pub before, it really wasn't a place you'd walk to on your own. The doorman of the pub gave a statement that he recognised the description of Annie as the woman that came in the door at around 9 p.m. that night, with a man who paid her cover charge, and they spent the evening together. We don't know who this man was. Was it someone that picked her up as she was walking to the pub? someone she just met outside the pub, or someone that she pre-arranged to meet. Closing time was around 11 p.m. and she wasn't seen leaving, as it was a busy night. The description of the man was 5'9" to 5'10", dark brown hair, mid-20s, and wearing a wax jacket. The only problem with this account is the doorman didn't know Annie personally, and the man she was with never came forward. Years later, information came in that maybe a man from up north was involved with Annie's disappearance. It was said the man was moved to a safe house in Glencullen, and she met him in Johnny Fox's that night. They took a shine to each other, and while the Irishman got a bit carried away with his stories, he told her things he shouldn't have, and he got rid of her. He contacted his superiors and they arranged for the man to be moved back up north. But when he got into trouble up there, they moved him off to America, never to be seen again. The most promising lead to this day, and is still being followed up, is that a woman named Margaret Wogan, who worked in Poppy's Cafe in Enniskerry, who has since passed away, had told her daughter she had seen Annie at the cafe, and a man approached Annie to buy her a slice of cake and sat with her. Again, this woman didn't know Annie personally. With this information, they think that Annie didn't go to Johnny Fox's that night at all, and that she disappeared from Enniskerry. I'm not saying that Annie wasn't at these places, nor are the Gardaí. It was low season for tourists in Ireland and Patrick's Day was well over. Annie would have stood out. She was tall, slim, long dark curly hair, and of course her accent. So it is possible, just not confirmed. There has also been indications that this was the work of Larry Murphy. Annie was the first of 8 women to disappear in Ireland between 1993 and 1998, and it is known as the Vanishing Triangle. During the time of the disappearances, Operation Trace was set up to investigate these cases. None of these women were ever found. I will be doing the case of the Vanishing Triangle in the near future and will give more details then. When Annie disappeared, her parents moved to Ireland and stayed for months. They got the American embassy, a criminal lawyer and private investigator involved, all working together alongside the Gardaí, but to no avail. 5 years after Annie went missing, her parents John and Nancy separated, and in 2009 John passed away. Nancy still fights the good fight to find answers to Annie's disappearance. Annie would have turned 56 in March of 2022, and I'm sure she would have been living her life to the fullest. I know the Irish people have not forgotten her, and her name still comes up in conversation. She will be mostly remembered though by her family and the people who grew up with her, and the people that knew her personally here in Ireland. It is still a very open and active case, and we hope that someday she can be brought home to her first home. But for now she is somewhere here in Ireland, her second home, where she is not forgotten.